Right. My name is Kristen Massey. I'm a graduate assistant with the Transnational NGO Initiative here at Moynihan Institute. I'm undertaking a brief career interview with Subarna Mathes, and she is a steward of international advocacy and network evaluation at iScale. Thanks for being with us today. I'd like to start off by hearing a brief explanation of your work at iScale and also a little bit about the work that iScale does.
Sure. At iScale, just quickly at iScale, we work with partners working on social change organizations, working on global problems, basically, to really help them scale the impact of the work they do. This could be through monitoring, evaluation, and learning, through strategic planning, and through innovations like communities of practice, multi-stakeholder initiatives. And the work that I do specifically is with transnational advocacy efforts, mostly helping them to both plan for their advocacy, but also to monitor, evaluate, and learn from their advocacy.
Great. Could you take us a little bit through your own career path leading up to your current position with iScale?
Sure. I have been a student, a graduate student at the University of Michigan, where I received an area studies degree, South Asia Studies. And from there, I went on to receive a Master's of Public Administration through the University of Washington. And that's really where I focused on evaluation, and within evaluation, international development evaluation. And largely, that's where I became interested in evaluation of advocacy efforts, and particularly transnational advocacy efforts.
Mm-hmm. But after your MPA degree, where was your first?
And after the MPA, I actually started with iScale. So this is really where I've tested a lot of the skills that I received and picked up in grad school.
Great.
Yeah.
Could you describe a typical day for you? Like, what should we imagine thinking about our careers ahead?
Yeah, I mean, with a small group like iScale, and a lot of groups like us are very small in terms of the staffing. We do work very collaboratively, but I work, iScale is a virtual office space, and so we have colleagues in Seattle and LA, actually in Idaho and in New York, myself. And so a typical day often means conversing on Skype over sort of the key tasks at hand. I manage projects overseas, and so a lot of the consultations that I do with partners really involve me talking with our partners in countries in Africa, but in partners in Europe as well, and really trying to work on the projects that we do on a day-to-day level, to really be able to help provide support in any given issue. So in this case, in many of the cases that I work, it's evaluation with a transnational advocacy partner, whether they be in Africa, whether they be in Europe or Asia.
Interesting. So you guys don't actually have a home office?
We don't have a home office, yeah.
Very now, if you don't mind providing us here at Maxwell with some career advice, maybe specifically some skills that we should focus on developing, and also more specific advice to students who are interested in working in the general field of monitoring and evaluation.
Yeah, I think in terms of advice on skills, I think certainly a generalist perspective. I think coming from the issue area that I came from, which was South Asian Studies, and a very liberal arts education, but with a specific focus on the history, political context, and socioeconomic context of Asia, South Asia to be exact. What really helped was the sort of mirror perspective of a master's in public administration, which really complemented the very specific context work with skills in things like strategy and planning, things like evaluation, but things also like organizational development. And so combination of those two skills really, and those two studies really helped me to then be able to focus my attention in the work that I do now. I think for monitoring and evaluation, really helpful to get multiple perspectives on evaluation, the field of evaluation. There's lots of different kinds of evaluation that one might focus on. There's experimental designs, quasi-experimental designs, comparative case approaches. And I think having at least a good basic understanding of each of those and understanding what where sort of your proclivity is really helpful in understanding then what you want to do with your career once you graduate.
Did you focus on a specific area?
I focused on international development evaluation, but really on the comparative case side. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks.